This is a special meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, today Tuesday, December 1st, 2015. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise to salute our nation's flag, and I'd ask Bloomingdale's finest to please lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Here.
Councilmembers D'Amato.
Here.
Costa.
Here.
Delariva.
Here.
Hudson. Present. Sandemeyer.
Present.
Yazdi.
Also with us, our municipal clerk, Jane McCarthy. This is an official meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale. On November 24th, 2015, public notification of the date, time, and place of this official meeting was faxed to all local news media and posted at Borough Hall. I would ask our guests to indulge the council in a brief matter we need to take care of. Before I do, though, we do have to, as a regular meeting, I need a motion to open a public comment. All in favor? Anyone wishing to speak to any matter, please approach, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And again, I ask for your indulgence. We were fortunate in receiving a Department of Transportation grant, and the deadline is now that we have to award a contract for the repaving and water lines and storm drains on Star Lake Road. So I do need a council member to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2015-12.1, awarding the contract to Star Lake Improvements. Low bidder was Mike Fitzpatrick and Son in the amount of $676,000 and $317. Who makes that motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Costa.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Sandemeyer.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Name.
Okay, the business part is over, and now why we're all here, and I first want to welcome everybody to a great day in the Borough of Bloomingdale. And I'll begin by welcoming Chief Burrell and Chief Fletcher. I'm not sure if Chief Alexander is with us this evening. Chief Alexander. All our distinguished guests, Bloomingdale staff members, family members of our police department, rasps from the audience, visiting police departments, as I stated, and most importantly, the members of Bloomingdale's finest, Bloomingdale Police Department. Gentlemen, thank you again for all you do. You know, it is a privilege of rather grand proportion for me to be here to speak and to swear in our newest officer and swear in our newly promoted officers as well. I thank you profusely for this prized opportunity, and I do not take this honor lightly at all. I will speak on behalf of our Public Safety Committee, Councilman D'Amato, Councilwoman Hudson, and Councilman Mike Sandemeyer, who wanted me to make sure I mentioned that they were incredibly honored to be part of the interview process for the promotions we will be swearing in this evening. And they too don't take it lightly and are honored and privileged to have been part of that. You know, the essential point to be made here is that as law enforcement officers, you will at some time and time again be called upon to do the unthinkable, though you probably will never believe so or perceive yourselves in such a light. You will be heroes in your own right and be called upon to perform deeds that few will ever understand, few will ever appreciate, or ever be able to perform themselves. You gentlemen are an elite class of humanity to which very few are called. This is your day to shine. What you have chosen to do is a mission, is a calling, no less. As guardians of public safety, I know you do not take these tasks, which are inherent in this noble and distinguished undertaking, lightly at all. Every day you wear your uniform, you'll be referred to as law enforcement officers. And sometime during your career, you will save a life, or many lives for that matter, by putting your own on the line. Because this is what you've been called to do. You have been entrusted to respond to any crisis that encompass the very worst moments of the lives of our local citizens. And yet, you will react with the utmost professionalism, as that is part and parcel of what your mission entails. So much of what you do exceeds the bounds of what involves the enforcement of law, but is nevertheless very much an unequivocal aspect of the duties of a law enforcement officer. You serve our community with all the pride you can muster, and I thank you for that. You all live by the golden rule, to always treat those you are called to assist as you would wish to be treated yourselves. Never overlook or take for granted your own family in the equation of what it is to do in the line of duty. Most importantly, never fail to remember that your families, which many times include your brotherhood in law enforcement, will always be there for you and will remain your greatest asset of all. They will be there through tough times and the worst of times. And I pledge to you as your mayor, and I know I speak for the council, we will always be there for you as well. God bless each of you for your courage you have displayed, and for our new officer we will be swearing in this evening, and our newly promoted officers that I know you will display as you take the solemn oath as sworn officers of law and as members of the Bloomingdale's finest on this very special evening, and for the extraordinary services you provide and sacrifices you make on behalf of this, our beloved community. My heroes are those who risk their lives every day to protect our world and make it a better place. And those hero gentlemen are you. So we thank you, and God bless each of you this evening. At this time, it is my honor and a great privilege to introduce someone I consider a dear friend, the finest chief of police anywhere, Chief Joseph Burrell.
Good evening, everybody. First off, Mayor, I want to thank you for the kind words. They truly mean very much to each and every one of us. So thank you very much. Tonight is a very special night. Tonight, the police department enters a new time. While we continue with the culture that has been developed by the officers before us, many who are here tonight, we have retired chiefs from our department, captains, patrolmen, it runs the gamut. We have many members who have set up our culture as a police department for us. Well, tonight we start new traditions. We will have new leaders within the department, fresh new ideas, and an environment of new development. It's exciting. I can sit up here and tell you I'm extremely excited. I can see it coming to work every day, how the officers are excited, and this is a new time for the Bloomingdale Police Department. It's refreshing, and ultimately I think it's going to make us as a department grow together. And what more can you ask for in a community than having a police department that grows together as a family, as we will. Tonight we swear in a new officer, new patrolman, 3 sergeants, and a lieutenant. On a smaller department, one of our size, that's a major changeover in a short period of time. Again, all good, very, very exciting. Sadly, it is a time when police countrywide are under the microscope for all the wrong reasons. In Bloomingdale, I can assure you that's not the case. We have the unwavering support of our mayor and council. They are the ones who made tonight possible. Without them, this event, this special evening tonight does not take place. Words don't, I cannot put the words or put on a piece of paper how thankful I am to our mayor and council. Since the day I've been chief, I've always had the support of our mayor and councils. I can't say enough how much it means, this particular council and mayor. Every time I've come to them with an issue, a concern, or what we can do to make the department better, every single time it gets done because of their support. And I cannot thank you enough, each and every one of you up on the dais tonight. Matter of fact, I'd like to have a round of applause for each. I especially would like to thank Mayor Dunleavy and the council members who comprise the Public Safety Committee. As the mayor mentioned earlier, council members Dawn Hudson, John D'Amato, and Mike Sondermeyer, for their support and their involvement in the promotional process. The Public Safety Committee was actively engaged in the process, and their hands-on approach, teamwork, and true desire to do what's best for the department, but also what's best for the borough, was visibly evident. Every time we sat down and had a meeting preparing for these interview process and the process that we would go through as we went through the promotions, I was amazed at how much they took it to heart, how much they cared, how they wanted to do the right thing and make the right decisions. It was really, really special for me to be able to work with all three of you. So I want to personally thank all three of you. At this point, what we're going to do is, the first thing on the agenda is to swear in our new officer, which will be, we're here as a department, as a borough, as family and friends, to welcome Sammy Zeiden to our police department. Conrad Jimenez, and during that speech at that time, I talked about how, you know, you're swearing in, the first time being sworn in as a law enforcement, how we never forget that. Well, in this case, it's a little different with Sammy. This is his third, you know, essentially, but it will be his last. Sammy, what that shows me is Sammy is a person who is committed to law enforcement, and he started in 2011 as a Class 1 Special in Hackensack. And for people who don't know what special officers are, you know, that's a stepping stone to move up the ladder and get to full-time status in law enforcement. Well, Sammy took that initiative and became a Class 1 Special with the Hackensack Police Department in 2011. From there, he went to the Passaic County Sheriff's Department as a deputy sheriff, again showing that initiative, another stepping point, you know, to better himself and move forward in a career. So Sammy moved to the Sheriff's Department. And then in 2013, he was hired by the Montclair State Police Department after graduating the Passaic County Police Academy. Well, I met Sammy in 2013 when he was, you know, initially on with the Montclair State Police Department. I got to know Sammy over the next 3 years due to my friendship and working relationships with his chief, Chief Paul Sell of the Montclair State Police Department. And from a distance, Sammy was very involved with things that Chief Sell would do, and very involved with the department. And I just sat and watched from afar. And I was truly impressed with what I saw. Not only how he represented and presented himself, but also how he presented and represented himself for the Montclair State Police Department. I really admired that from a distance. Little did I know at some point he'd be working here. Chief Sell would constantly talk about Sammy and gave him great accolades and words of dedication and loyalty and just a great officer with that department. All stood out and all were things that Chief Sell had spoken to me about and talked about over time whenever Sammy's name came up. So when the opportunity presented itself, and we had that opportunity to hire Sammy, I jumped on that opportunity. There were other officers or other people, individuals who were looking to get in law enforcement. It's a real tough job to get into right now. There's not a lot of openings. The talent is outstanding. That said, I knew that Sammy would be a great fit with our department. Sammy has all the traits we're looking for in an officer in the Bloomingdale Police Department. And I have no doubt that those traits of compassion and professionalism will continue as he leaves Montclair State and now moves on to our department. Not only do I have no doubt about it, I expect it. You know, I expect him to have compassion and show professionalism, because that's how we do it here in Bloomingdale. And that's, you know, that's how, you know, as I spoke about our culture, that's how we'll do it moving forward. And Sammy is going to be a great part of that. At this time, you know, I would ask the mayor to come back up and, you know, we can do the duties of swearing in Sammy, and I'm going to turn it back over to the mayor at this point. But from myself and the members of the department, Sammy, I want to welcome you. It's an honor and happy to have you.
That's right, man. Go.
While I'm waiting for the oath of office, I said in my comments, it's a special individual who chooses the profession of law enforcement. And what will make you a successful officer and have a successful career is your support system, starting with your brotherhood, but starting with your family.
Here.
And, yes, I would like to invite Sammy's family up as we prepare to swear him in. And there's always two real important people in that mix, and that is mom and your significant other. So I'd like to, as you guys come up, please,
Go ahead.
Sammy's mom, Majda, going to present you flowers, and Danya, his fiancée. And I'd ask all your family to come up for the swearing in, please, but Mom, thank you for sharing your son. Your family Bible, I'd ask you if you would please raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, and simply, and I will go slow, repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Sammy Zaiden,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of
States
the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will be of true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
and to the same
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of patrolman
of the office of patrolman
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
And I present to you your shield and wish you the best, long,
Thank you.
healthy career in the
Thank you.
borough of Bloomingdale.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you.
Not only the ones being promoted tonight, but every officer on this department who is eligible. They studied hard, they used their vacation time, and they put in countless hours of work. They did it because they cared. They did it to better themselves, and they did it to better serve the public that they serve. I first want to acknowledge all the family members who had to deal with this process, and being there myself, you cannot be successful without that support. Many family events were missed. Family time with your family members was lessened, all due to the studying of, and the process of getting ready and preparing for this exam. So anybody who is here tonight who is a family member, I just want to commend each of you. And I know it's a tough thing to do, and certainly it's a process, and you all got to see firsthand the effort and what goes into going through a promotional exam. I don't think there's anyone out there who says it's a fun process. But, we all know how hard everybody worked. So how do we get to the lieutenant's position? The sergeants in our police department were involved in an oral exam generated by and proctored by the Passaic County Police Chiefs Association. The exam included areas including supervision and management principles, New Jersey and U.S. constitutional law, Attorney General guidelines, directives, case law, arrest, search, and seizure, and the list goes on and on. There were so many different things they had to do to prepare and study for this examination, where they went in front of a board of 3 chiefs of police from the State Chiefs Association, and essentially they got drilled, and in a real tough process. I would actually think they would have probably preferred to take the written over the oral when it came down to it. But, you know, again, you know, that was, you know, the first phase of the process was this oral board examination interview process that was with the State Chiefs Association. From there, the sergeants were interviewed by the Public Safety Committee that I had mentioned earlier. This was done using scenarios to determine leadership skills, supervisory knowledge, professional demeanor, and basically just who they are and what their perspective of police work entails. The process was fair, but stressful. Not only for the officers who were involved, but I can sit there and tell you that there were nights that I didn't sleep because of this process. And I know that the Public Safety Committee, we all dealt with different types of stresses during this process. In the case of the Public Safety Committee, they knew that their decision impacted the whole department, and it impacted it greatly moving forward. They were truly up to the challenge, and they did not take the responsibility lightly. So ultimately, we had the oral exam interview process with the state chiefs, and then we had the Public Safety Committee. And both of those pieces of the puzzle and parts of that process ultimately led us to where we are today. When all was said and done, there was a difference between the top and the bottom of 5 points. So again, it wasn't a decision that you just said, well, this person really excelled. 5 points separated every officer who took the lieutenant's exam, which only made our decision even tougher. While it was a very tough decision, the decision had to be made. And ultimately, that recommendation was for Sergeant Bob Reslin to be elevated to lieutenant. So at this time, I'd ask Bob to come forward. On Bob. He's a 20-year officer who is respected greatly by his peers, not only within our department, but on outside departments as well. If I sum Bobby up in one word, it'd be authentic. That's the word that I come up with when I think of Bob. He's a firearms instructor and vital in putting our active shooter and training plans in place, our plan for active shooter, which includes school emergencies and active shooter incidents. Bob is the person who set that up, put a plan in place for our department. We work together with Riverdale. I know, Lieutenant McIntosh is here. The two of them worked extremely well together and came up with a great plan in the event we do have an emergency. And just seeing how he handled that, that plan and how detailed and what a great job he did with that, we'll all be thankful. Hopefully we'll never need, but we'll all be thankful to be trained and prepared with respect to that. Bob is also a field training officer for our department, so when we have new hires, Bob is one of the officers that helps train the new hires on our department. He's a firearms instructor for when we do shooting at the range. He's also received numerous outstanding service awards and commendations, including a Law Enforcement Valor Award and Combat Cross Award for his involvement in an armed confrontation that took place on December 15th in 1996. And Mayor, as you mentioned earlier, sometimes when you're called, to duty, you come to work, and in this case, Bobby was, along with other officers who are here tonight, were involved with an individual who was armed, and things could have got really tragic and terrible that night. But the way Bobby handled himself, along with the other officers, they're here today. But that was, an incident in Bobby's career where he certainly was recognized for his great work. He's not afraid to make tough decisions, is open-minded, and above all, he's a leader by example. I have no doubt at all that Bob is the right man for this position. I think he's going to do extremely well in his role as lieutenant. And to be quite honest with you, Bob, you know what, I'm looking forward to working alongside of you. Many in the room would know that Bobby, well, some in the room may not know, but many of us are aware that Bobby comes from a law enforcement family. And many of us had the honor of knowing his father, Chief Harry Reslin. Well, I'm sure Chief Reslin is looking down proudly on you tonight, Bobby, and I'm sure he's up there with a big smile on his face. And I wish he was here for it, but he's here with us tonight. And again, it's my honor to welcome you on as the new lieutenant of the Bloomingdale Police Department. And this time, I'm going to turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you. As I mentioned when we swore standing, the importance of family. At this time, I'd like to invite Bob's family up to the podium for the swearing in and present to his mom Barbara and his wife Cheryl flowers again for your support.